anything is possible. Um, Real estate is going to be a negotiation between two people. One person is selling, one person is buying. There are a few different circumstances, like if a government owns a property and they're advertising it for the public to buy, they're releasing land. If an estate is advertising, if a self-managed super fund is advertising the property, there are some restrictions. So, for example, a government body that's releasing a property may not accept any negotiations. They might say, well, because we're a government department, we must take a 10% deposit and that's it, no negotiation. But the reality is that even if you have a small deposit to start with, a large majority of the properties that are for sale will allow some form of negotiation, whether it's to spread out the time for the payments or to take a smaller deposit, or in some cases to use the vendor as a deposit. So they write paperwork that's done through a lawyer, obviously. But yeah, there are circumstances where you can get in with a zero deposit or a low deposit or a smaller deposit than what's advertised. That can even happen on an auction as long as it's negotiated before the auction. So yeah, there are a lot of times where you can get started even if you have a very low deposit. And even if you don't have the time to go into lunchtime inspections, even if you're far away from where the property is, because the reality is that the licensed people that do inspections and provide a report with their insurance to make sure that they're doing their professional assessment, they don't need to be you. You're paying somebody who lives next to the property, or at least who is willing to drive out to the property and do that. Even if you've never painted a wall yourself. So we spoke a bit about renovation, Tony.
Yes.
It's not necessary to become an investor only after you've learned how to use power tools. It's not necessary to become an investor after you've started painting 10 or 20 units. Or even if you've got young kids like myself. So I have 4 children and I got into real estate when they were young, but it wasn't something that held me back at all. In fact, having kids was probably one of the drivers that got me to value my time more. So it's actually the opposite. So even if you have young kids that demand your full attention, that's actually a driver to buy an investment property rather than something that should hold you back. Or like, I'm a property enthusiast. I'd probably say that from a real estate perspective, I'm a bit of a nutter. I love house hunting. It's one of my favorite things to do, which is one of the reasons I became a real estate buyer's agent rather than just selling property. So I'm happy to sell property. I'm happy to buy property, but I love the hunt. I love looking at properties where I don't want to waste time and just go for a tour. But if I'm on the hunt and I'm actually looking for something specific and I'm ready to buy if the right opportunity is there, that excites me. I don't like shopping for the sake of shopping, but I love buying houses. So yeah, look, even if you're not like me and you don't love house hunting on the weekends, you can still get into investment properties.